Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless.
Hello. Today I want to talk about the show Edgerunners, or Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Apologize for my voice. As you can tell, there are some issues going on. I am experiencing allergies for the first time in my life. Alright, before I get into my thoughts and feelings of Edgerunner, I'm gonna do a bit of knowledging. Alright. Oh, this is a long one. They're both long. Let's do Silly Kenwa. Silly Kenwa? I don't know. Its origin is from the Dominican Republic. Silly Kenwa is a Dominican manifestation of the Iwa, known in Haiti as Azili Coeur Noir or Black-Hearted Azili. Silly Kenwa is syncretized, is that even a fucking word? To Saint Martha. In accordance with Iberian customs, the Dominican spiritual tradition known as the 21 Divisions distinguishes between Saint Martha and her alter ego Martha the Dominator, whom they identify with the snake spirit Lubana. In recent years, however, Silly Kenwa has come to be associated with Martha the Dominator too. In 21 Divisions cosmology, Martha the Dominator is associated with the image identified elsewhere as Mami Waters. This image depicts a beautiful snake charmer with her snake. Sometimes Lubana is envisioned as the woman with the snake, but sometimes Silly Kenwa is identified as the woman and Lubana is the snake she holds. The two spirits often work together. Petitioners invoke the two to work in conjunction when casting magic spells whose goal is domination. Kenwa is associated with the head, while Lubana is associated with feet. So when allied together, the two spirits offer control from top to toe. Silly Kenwa is a persuasive spirit invoked by petitioners to help communicate with or convince others. Silly Kenwa can encourage someone to listen to our perspective and to adopt it. Dedicate a green skull candle to her and request her assistance. First off, if I had a green skull candle, I would be really fucking happy. She is associated with the traditional image of Saint Martha holding a torch and leading a dragon, as well as the modern snake charmer image. Her color is green, her number is 7. Her offerings are unripe coconuts because they are perceived as resembling human heads. That's great. I don't think I quite understand what Silly Kenwa is other than domination. Something about domination and being a persuasive spirit. Okay, I had to pull up a few things because Cyberpunk Edgerunners is I'm gonna say it has a fucking website, and I'm just gonna kind of say what it says here. First of all, it's I think it's a Netflix exclusive or whatever, a Netflix made show. It is an animation. It's very much from a anime, because I think it was made by a Japanese director, creator, whatever. It is a side story to Cyberpunk 2077, which was a video game that came out, I'm not entirely sure when, but that video game flopped massively. It had such a hype and build up, and everyone was like, oh my god, it's gonna be amazing, and then it just fucking died because I guess there were just a lot of problems. I don't really know what the problems were because I didn't play it and I wasn't incredibly into it, but if you are interested, I'm looking for just a synopsis of what Cyberpunk 2077 is. What the fuck? I thought I pulled it up. Ugh. Can I just... please? Oh, it says here Cyberpunk 2077 was made by the same creators who made The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which I haven't played yet, but I will be getting to that at some point. Okay, come on, I just want... Okay, here. Just the fucking little synopsis given by Steam, I guess. Cyberpunk 2077. No, it's by Wikipedia. Wikipedia always has all the information. Can you tell that my sources are just so reliable? Cyberpunk 2077 is an action role-playing video game developed by CD Projekt Red and produced by same people. The story takes place in Night City, an open world set in the cyberpunk universe. Players assume the first-person perspective of a customizable mercenary known as V, who can acquire skills in hacking and machinery with options for melee and ranged combat. So there's a lot more written on there, but I ain't going into that. So yeah, that was the video game that came out. There should be a date here, right? Okay, it essentially came out December 2020, and Cyberpunk Edgerunners came out this year, 2022. September 13th was when it officially was live on Netflix or whatever. And Edgerunners, the little synopsis given here on the website, tells a standalone 10-episode story about a street kid trying to survive in a technology and body modification obsessed city of the future, which is Night City. Having everything to lose, he chooses to stay alive by becoming an Edgerunner, a mercenary outlaw also known as a cyberpunk. Okay, so that's kind of like a little synopsis that was provided here by our lovely interwebs. So I will start off by saying that this show needs a lot of trigger warnings for blood, gore, violence, sexual content, and just general like fucked upness. Okay, so it is a dystopia. Like, it is set in a future that is very neon, very machine, very techie like, but has an incredibly jarring and just huge gap of wealth. So you have those who succeed and those who fucking fail. And there is no in between that's really shown. And actually, the kid that we follow, the main character, David, his mother tries very hard to get him into a good school so that he can have a good future. And you find out that she had some shady ways of trying to even just fund it, and they're struggling immensely. And yeah, shit gets really bad. Like, nothing in this show was happy. Nothing was happy. There was never a happy moment. I also took some notes because honestly, the show is it's wild. What did I call it? I called it a joyride. It's like a joyride show where it's just fucking madness. But the other thing is the animation in itself. So Ryan watches a lot of anime. I used to watch a lot of anime, and especially from like what I watched back in high school, it's pretty clear that animation has come a very long way from what it was, and the creative liberties that can be taken now are amazing. Like, a good example, in my opinion, is Arcane, which was just, that was beautiful, like the texturization of stuff. I will say Cyberpunk Edgerunners is very, very reminiscent to just a typical anime in like the form or the art style, but the colors in it, they will almost hurt your brain. So if you are epileptic or can have a tendency to it or easily get headaches, don't watch this show, because the colors are super vibrant and the flashes can be pretty intense. I know that even for me, at times I was like, there is so much, like in an action scene, it was actually hard to follow what was happening. You're like, so did that person get stabbed, or is that just a random color, like just splash? Or it's beautiful, but also like, yeah, it's intense in the colorfulness. When I said that it was neon, I wasn't kidding. Also, just the general characterization of people, like their appearance, I thought was super original. And again, like, it's in a future where body modifications, essentially becoming cyber humans, is normal. From what we saw when we were watching it, everyone most likely at least has like some kind of modification to their eyes, or like a communication service type of thing that's installed in their brain. Like, your cell phone is in your head, I guess, because the calls kind of just happen, they pop up on the screen. Which, that was something I thought was really cool, is that when people are in a call, the text would pop up as like almost like a text chat on the screen, and those were your subtitles. So if you are watching it in the original Japanese, the subtitles will switch to the like text chat call thing happening, instead of being like your typical white subtitles on the bottom. So at first I was like, where did the subtitles go? And I was like, oh, you have to read this, which sometimes was a little hard because they're speaking in like vernacular. So it sometimes is a little tough, but you do get used to it. So in the vein of the cyber enhancements, it's such a big part of this world, but there is this clear danger of it. So if you are modified a lot, you can eventually reach a point where they call it cyber psychosis or cyber psycho. And that is kind of a looming threat, especially for the character that we're following and his little band of friends, because they are mercenaries and they kind of enhance themselves as much as possible so that they can, you know, do the missions that they need to do. So they have to kind of inject themselves with some kind of medication. I forgot what it was called, but that can help, first of all, not kill them, which it makes sense. I was like, yeah, your entire body is machine. How does that even function? Like, you know, when organ donors, like, you receive an organ or you give an organ, like, it won't always match. So it kind of makes sense that, like, a machine wouldn't fully integrate to your body. And it can actually make you fucking go psycho, go crazy. So that was like one theme in the show. And then there's this kind of overarching, I guess, kind of corporate war. So there are two corporations, and I didn't quite understand what they stood for. Like if they were an enhancements type of corporation, like, you know, like different kind of, probably, like it's a whole world about enhancing yourself. So they're probably just like two different companies that provide different kind of like body enhancements or cyberware, I guess, and they're competing with each other. So that's kind of what the main character is dealing with, is that they are being sent on missions that they never really know if it's one company sending them to go attack the other one, and then they take a job from the other company and go attack the other one. But so the two companies were called, I wrote it down because I couldn't remember, Arasaka and Militech. So that was probably the leading plot, I guess. I will say that this animation series wasn't very clear on a story. It genuinely felt more like a character-driven story where this main character is kind of at an all-time low and he meets these kind of band of misfits, the mercenaries, and you get to know them, and it's kind of just a lot of jokes and banter and friendship being formed. And yeah, that's kind of mostly what it felt like. But I will also say, be warned, the first 6 episodes are like a prologue, because then it just kind of shifts into something else. Or not something else, but like you get a huge time jump. So yeah, that I think was a little bit jarring, because it felt like this show was trying to build up something, like a very strong emotion, like care for these characters, love them. But it goes so fast, and I don't think that there was quite enough bonding that was made for me to really care what happened to them. Also, there is, I don't know if it's a subplot to it. Maybe it was supposed to be the main one, but there is like a relationship, a love interest, or a romance, which was between our main character David and this girl Lucy, which I forgot what they called her. I think they're called Netrunners or something, where she specializes more in, like, I guess diving into people's cyberware. Like, that wasn't super well explained, but again, I'm pretty sure that everyone has some kind of chip that can be hacked in a way that's in them. And so she specializes in that, and there's like this really quick like relationship that's built, and I guess that she really loves him and they really love each other. But I didn't feel it. I was like, why? Like, she lied to you a couple times, nearly tried to kill you, nearly got you killed, then just kind of ditches you for a while. Like, there wasn't a lot built on that. And like the end of the show, I guess maybe you were supposed to actually care more about the relationship, because it was the very end of the show is like something super meaningful that happened when they first met. But I was like, yeah, I don't think it was that meaningful, because, well, you nearly got killed after that thing happened, so... but anyways, yeah, I guess those are like the plot points. But there were some still like interesting things that were done. So when you have a main character that is joining this group of people who are into modifications, and you know that that type of theme can be taken really far. It can be made very intense. If you're going to make yourself into machines, and you see it happen with one of the characters, like you see him in the past where he was just a normal looking guy, but now he's like this big buff dude who looks like a fucking wall. And our main character goes through kind of evolution where that happens too, but it looked so weird. Like his head was still that of a kid and his body was like huge jacked metal man type of thing. And I'm like, I wonder if that was done on purpose, where it was supposed to show just how kind of unhuman it is to modify yourself so much. Then the modifications took a whole other turn, because I guess one of the companies, I think it was the Arasaka one, they have something called a cyber skeleton, and they were trying to get it onto David because David has this apparently incredible adaptability to cyberware. Like, he doesn't go crazy as quickly as normal people do, and they want it on him, and they kind of trick him into it. And I was expecting something that was more discreet. Like, it's called a cyber skeleton, so I was like, maybe it's more of something that's inside your body and you don't really see it. But no, it was like massive. It was like a tank armor type thing. And I was like, I don't know. I didn't really like some of the, like, the extent that some of the cyberware stuff went to. But anyways, all in all, I don't think it's a bad show. I think that it is worth watching if you want a joyride type of show. But it's nothing that's absolutely like blowing me away. And in a way, I guess that kind of gives me an impression of what happened to the video game Cyberpunk 2077. Probably visually absolutely amazing, but story-wise not really that great, and like the characters are pretty surface level, one-dimensional type of thing going on. But if you like gore, I recommend it because there's a lot of blood and guts. Anyways, that's really it for my thoughts on Cyberpunk Edgerunners. It did say that it was a standalone series, so I do not think there will be more, and the way it ended was pretty cut and dry, so yeah, it was worth it. If you did watch it, let me know what you think too. If you didn't and you're kind of interested in taking a peek, go ahead. And if you hate it, please let me know. I'm kind of in between. I'm like, it's not great, but it's not terrible either. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!